Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the F9 podcast. My name is Stephen, got Connor and Luke this time with me. You probably can realize that we're trying to work around our work schedules and stuff. We're busy in that, but yeah, we're gonna do a match day 2 review. So as you saw from last week, we did match day 1, and this week's gonna be match day 2. I'm just gonna run through the results, talk about them for a bit. It won't be too long because it kind of gets a bit tedious and repetitive. But first seed, so we're going to start from Group A again. I'm going to start with Finland, Russia. I'm sorry, that's not Group A. What we're talking about, that was Group B. It's Turkey, Wales. Is the one I want to start with. Wales won 2-0 in the end, meaning they went into the Italian game on 4 points. It was actually a very good win for Wales because Turkey were fancied with from everyone fancied them coming into the tournament, and yeah, they've really underperformed. And we saw yesterday, match day 3. We won't talk about it, but they've ended up with 0 points, which is a big surprise. But for Wales, I think it's a fantastic win. I think the Switzerland game, they probably would have been a little bit disappointed because we talked about it last week. They didn't really perform to their best. But the Turkey game, they came into it. They played very good. They played very well and defended really well. Obviously, Turkey had most of the ball, but they came to when they needed to, and they got their 2 goals in the end. But Connor, for Wales, obviously, just you don't need to take yesterday's results against Italy into consideration here. But that win for Wales was huge because I even said myself they finished with 0 points, but that win more or less qualified them for the next round.
Yeah, did I think I kind of looked at before. I expected Turkey. I think when we were doing dark horse predictions for the thing, I think a few of us predicted Ukraine and Turkey were in the mix as well for it, but they've come out. They haven't performed to the level that they have in the last few years leading up to it, so they have been very disappointing. Wales, on the other hand, it's kind of Ramsey and Bale again stepping up when they're needed.
Yeah.
I know Bale missed a penalty there, but he got the assist there for the Connor Roberts goal at the end. And I mean, I think that was huge for them because they knew that they probably wouldn't get anything from Italy. Obviously, as you said, we're not going to take that into consideration just yet because we're only doing match week 2 at the moment. But no, it's a good result for them, especially Switzerland. I expected Switzerland to beat Wales, if I'm honest, as well as Turkey. So very, very good result for Wales overall.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, we know they qualified now, but the 4 points they got from the first two games was always going to be enough, even if they finished third. You're not going to be knocked out if you finish third with 4 points. It's just not how it works, as we know from 2016. Just look on Turkey quickly. They're just very poor, aren't they? I just think they probably do have the quality that people hype them up as having, but they have bottled it and they've choked on the big stage. And I think the first game against Italy, I feel like if that wasn't the first game, they might have done better. But since that game, they haven't really showed up at all.
Yeah, I think Turkey probably have to go down as flops of the tournament. I mean, if you look at their team on paper, they've got players like Soyuncu, Kabak, Demiral from Juventus. So they shouldn't be conceding as much goals as they were conceding. But Wales had a lot of chances against them. It could have been more. So Turkey just never looked like scoring. I know they had that Yilmaz up front who did really well in Liga this season, but they just seem to have no threat at all, Turkey, and they've just had a really poor tournament.
Yeah. Oh my God, this coffee. Yeah. Anyway, for me, the Turkey hype, I fell into it just thinking and not really watching them, to be fair, I'll be honest. I don't know who I said. I don't know what I was on. It was might have been the other podcast they were college. But yeah, it was they've just been poor. And I thought Wales, they did what they usually do. They sit back and they absorb the pressure and then they hit the counter. And as you said, Ramsey and Bale were players that step up for them. Bale was superb, his former self. But yeah, I think, look, Turkey was unlucky, but yeah. Speaking of that group, Italy, another 3-0 win against Switzerland. I said at the start, I was excited to see them in the tournament. Look, I know people saying I want to see them against a top country, but yeah, I get that, fair enough. But they're dismantling teams. They actually dismantle Switzerland, who aren't a bad team. They're not. They've good qualifying records, and I thought they were just fantastic. Locatelli has been a real standout this tournament, 2 goals. Chiellini was unlucky. He got his goal. It was disallowed. And then he pulled his hamstring, which was just not ideal. Hopefully for Italy's sake, he'll be back as soon as possible. And then Immobile got his goal in the end, which he deserved. He probably should have had a hat-trick. A lot of people kind of call him, oh, well, he's a penalty merchant. Oh, it's Serie A. I've always rated him. I think he's a fantastic striker. And that finish was top drawer. So yeah, I think again it was just similar to the Turkey game. They pinned them in, but yeah, like Connor, going to you first on this one for Italy. What do you think? Obviously, there's this kind of new hype around Italy. After people have seen them in the tournament, what do you think is different that they have that's different to other top nations like France, Germany, Portugal that we haven't seen from them?
I think they seem to be quite balanced in every position, but one of the big things is they don't have any big egos in the team. Like I know France, they have sort of a lot of players in the team, like the likes of Pogba and Mbappe. And listen, I'm not saying that they're not good, but like their egos there, they kind of take over a bit. Whereas I think Italy, they're all part of the team. They're playing for the same team, part of the same project, and they'll work for each other instead of thinking that they're better than the teammates around them. And obviously, it does help that a lot of them are playing in Serie A, which they're all playing against each other week in, week out. They know what they're like, and especially with Italy now, they're not really relying on just one goal scorer. You can see from the goal scorers there that there's different people scoring, and it's not just one-off goals that they're scoring. Like a lot of Immobile is on. He's on a few now. Locatelli's on a few.
Yeah.
So like I mean, you do need different people to be scoring your goals. You can't just rely on one man to score your goals. You see that with some teams like Portugal relying on Ronaldo too much and stuff like that. But overall, Italy, I think, like we've seen, Switzerland are a very good team, and they have been very good over the last few years. And they're always difficult to break down, and to beat them 3-0 is like that's a really good achievement for them, and especially the fact that they knew that if they won that game, they qualified as well. And I think it sends out a big statement to the rest of the teams in the tournament, the rest of the big teams like France and Portugal, sort of favourites of the tournament, that listen, like we're here to compete and win it as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's Austria or Ukraine most likely to defend round 16 as it stands. But Luke, I kind of touched on it there. Like, they don't have the ego of the team. I know people have said, oh, they don't have that star player, like for example, France and Mbappe, Portugal, Ronaldo, so on and so forth. Like, do you think that's what's helped them? They're all on kind of an equal level in terms of, maybe not in terms of quality, but just in terms of stature. And you think that like togetherness, you can see it on the pitch. Like even whenever a player scores, everyone like just goes mad, even on the bench. They just have a real togetherness about them, and you think that's what separates them from maybe other teams. Like in contrast to maybe someone like England, you don't really see that with them. It's very boring, but Italy, you just see the passion and stuff like that. So do you think like that's what kind of with Italy, do you think that's what separates them from the rest?
Yeah, I think it's a big factor. Even if you look like at the national anthem, you can see they're all like together. They're all like screaming. Like the passion is there. They seem to have great chemistry. They all know what way each other are going to play, and like they know that with the competition in the team, they're going to have to perform. Otherwise, they're probably going to be out of it. I mean, people are talking about Verratti possibly not getting back into the team, even though he basically put on a masterclass in the last game. But like, it's going to be interesting to see what they do about that, because they've got 4 great midfielders, and they've, I think, 3 places, or maybe they might play 4 midfield. But I don't think Jorginho can come out, and then they have Barella and Locatelli. So Verratti's going to have to come in, I think, because he is their best player. I think he's actually very underrated. He could be perceived as the big name in the side, but they've just shown how strong they are without him. They can easily look like one of the favourites for the tournament without probably their best player. So they've been really good so far. They only conceded 1 or 2 chances. Like, they haven't conceded a goal yet. So if you're doing your fantasy teams, the Italian defenders, they got to be brought in.
Oh, of course, especially the keeper, Donnarumma. Donnarumma has done nothing this tournament. He's just been there standing in the goal for the 3 games and he's just had nothing to do. But yeah, like one thing that I like about Italy, it's just their aggression. And I feel like they have that edge about them. I feel like a lot of the other teams are very, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like they're almost kind of robotic in that sense. There's not that edge to them. But Italy kind of play like a club side. It's even like even if they can't get to the ball, they'll give the opposition a nudge, they'll leave a foot in, and they just have that edge about the way they press. I think they're all around play. It's very nice to watch. Mancini has them playing superb football. And then of course when the Italian team, you know they're gonna be good defensively and they have been. And yeah, I think they're on a roll right now. I just can't see who stops them. Maybe in the semi, someone might stop them. I think Belgium might play them in the quarters, which would be some game, which I can't wait for, of course. But yeah, moving on to Group B, which the Group B games. So we had Finland and Russia. That was in the same game, the same day as the Group A games. Finland lost to Russia, 1-0. I mean, I didn't catch this game. I think I was at work. But yeah, the Alexei Marunchuk scored in stoppage time. I mean, is there a point running through this? I mean, I don't even know who that guy is. Like, well done, Russia. Anyways, moving on. So then we had Belgium, Denmark. That's worth talking about. Belgium, Denmark, 2-1. Denmark went 1-0 up. Obviously had the crowd on their back. They had loads of people. They had the place packed, which I was so confused about. But yeah, they had the place packed. 1-0 up, playing good football. Belgium was struggling, and then De Bruyne comes on, and that was that really, wasn't it? I felt as soon as he came on when I was watching it, he came on. I had to leave actually to go. I don't know where I was going, but anyway, I had to leave, and he just came on, and the place kind of pointed down, and like he was really starting to dictate. I saw the equalizers actually, in fact. To see that, like the ball he played, like I don't even know how he saw Meunier. Like it made no sense. And then Lukaku won man of the match, didn't he? I think. Yeah, Lukaku won man of the match. He was superb. And then Hazard came on even, and he was class. His brother scored. Why did I say Meunier? It was Torgan Hazard. Sorry. Anyways, Eden Hazard came on looking like his former self. He looked sharp, which is a huge addition for them because he's like the main man. But yeah, Luke, like, do you think just on De Bruyne, like, is there a midfielder in the world better than him? I don't think there is. Like his ability just to take the game by the scruff of the neck. I don't think there's anyone out there that can do that as a midfielder.
Yeah, I mean, this game he was sensational. I mean, you could question like the Champions League final. He had a poor display, but this game he proved why he's one of the best midfielders in the world. I mean, that assist for the first goal was just genius, really, and then the weak foot finish for the second goal was just unbelievable. So I don't think you'll see a better two-footed player in the world, to be honest. I mean, the striking off both feet is just incredible, really, the power he gets. And
technique,
Belgium just completely changed at half time when De Bruyne got introduced. I mean, they were getting dominated, and then De Bruyne just comes on and wins them the game. But also Lukaku wasn't having the greatest games, but as soon as he gets space in front of him, I don't think he's actually stoppable. Like he pushes the ball, and his power is just unbelievable. He just runs past players for fun, and it was great play for him for both the goals as well. So Belgium really looked like a good team again once they introduced Hazard or De Bruyne. I don't know what their fitness is like for the upcoming games, but if they can get both of them starting, they'll look like serious contenders, because without them, they don't really look like anywhere near as good a team, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the concern, like Lukaku, I think if he improved his first touch, it's obviously not at the level it was, but where he was like embarrassing. But I just think if he can improve his first touch, sometimes he kind of like trips over himself a little bit. If you can improve that, he's literally going to be the best striker in the world, for sure. You can't stop him then. If he improves his first touch, it's game over. But obviously, look, the concern for Belgium is not going forward. They have some of the best attacking talent in the world in that department. But for me, it's defensively. And Connor, do you worry for Belgium defensively, like before, like they came on, Denmark looked like they were going to score another two or three. Like they were so poor. I thought Denier was awful. Having my fantasy team, I swear to God, that guy, man, what's he doing to me? He's so bad. Yeah. So, kind of, do you think maybe like defensively is the worry because Alderweireld is getting older. Vertonghen's 35. Like it's not a back line you'd be very confident in.
Yeah, I think if you look at Alderweireld and Vertonghen, I think in the last year I was certainly you would have looked at their club level form. I would have been considering them as two of the best centre backs in the Premier League. But I think now they're a bit washed now. Like they're not as good as they used to be anymore at all.
Sure.
Defensively, they're not quick. I don't think they're very intelligent in terms of their positioning in the box for crosses and set pieces and everything like that. And I think there is a reliance on the big stars of the team like Hazard, De Bruyne, and people like that to come on and actually win the game. I think it was a great start from Denmark though. If you think about it, like obviously they went out to that game like they wanted to win for Eriksen and everything like that. They came out started well. And we have seen Denmark, like they are a good team. They're always organized, they're compact. They don't necessarily have that many big names in the team, but they work well together as a unit. But it just shows that someone with the quality of De Bruyne, like he can literally just come on and win the game.
For sure.
And
yeah,
feel a bit sorry for Denmark really, but
yeah, like the thing with Denmark is like they were so unlucky in the first game, obviously, but what happened in the second game, like De Bruyne just decided he was going to be like unstoppable, and like it's just you can't do anything about that. I don't think they can qualify now. Who they play next? They must be playing Russia, so they'd have to be. It's a tricky one because I don't know how that's going to work. Cambiar's working it out, but I don't think they'll qualify, even as a third place. But maybe wait and see. They've just been unlucky. Of course, Eriksen's health is more important than anything. So yeah, I guess we'll move on to Group C. Yes, Group C. Netherlands played Austria, 2-0 win to Netherlands. They're 2 from 2. I mean, they had people were down them coming to the tournament. It's a good win against Austria. Like Austria aren't bad, and they might be a bit reliant on Alaba, but they're not a bad team. Depay gets off the mark finally, and Dumfries gets another goal. Luke, I don't know if you're watching the game, but like 2 from 2 from Netherlands, you can't really ask for much from them. Have they impressed you in any way, or are you like surprised by how good they've been, considering the kind of downbeat tone coming into the tournament?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised because I watched their game and like they actually surprisingly play a lot better football than the Dutch media were making out. I mean, before going into the tournament, everyone was slating De Boer about this 3 at the back formation he was going on a bit about. And in the first game, they looked really good until they threw the 2-goal lead, but they got the win in the end. And then the second game, they get a comfortable win against not great opposition, but they're certainly not bad. Like Austria are a decent side. So you can't ask,
always at tournaments.
You can't ask for much more. I think they're qualified now. So like we'll see where they go, but they're definitely playing decent football. I think if they had Van Dijk, they'd have a lot better chances of going really far. But I'd have to see them against slightly better opposition, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the reason why he got so much, see what happened there is basically he's playing his 3 at the back, and that's not really the Dutch way. The Dutch way is 4-3-3, like the Cruyff kind of style, where they'd be pressing. That's what made them so successful in the 70s and 80s, and especially that Ajax team that won 4 European Cups. So I think that's why he was getting slated. But from what I see, like it's not bad. I think at times they can be a little bit complacent as it's on the Ukraine game, but I think it's good. It's fun to watch too. But yeah, kind of on Austria now. Austria. I mean, look, we know we joked last week about Austria being like kind of over-relying on Alaba. Basically, he can play wherever he wants, but they have to play Ukraine next. Like they have to get a win there, and because I think if they don't win that game, they can't. They might be able to qualify. No, they probably can't. So yeah, like from Austria, we expect them more in the Dutch game, and going into the next game against Ukraine, like they're gonna have to fix up. because they weren't too pressive against North Macedonia either. So yeah, so firstly, like, do you think you were expecting more in the game against the Dutch, or it's one of those where they're going to have to put everything into the Ukraine game?
Yeah, I think they obviously they know that they still have the Ukraine game at the end of the sort of next week. But I think if they had the fixtures the other way around, and if they had them the other way around, had to play Ukraine first, they would have put everything into that game, knowing that they're going to qualify. Because I mean, the Netherlands, like, they are the best team in the group there, as you can see. But I mean, like, against Ukraine, Austria, I think will still fancy themselves. Ukraine will fancy themselves. So I think it's actually lined up to be like a very good game. That could be a very good game to watch. I mean, both teams, obviously, they've both on their wins against North Macedonia, I think. So they're both on 3 points, if I'm not wrong. So going into this game, so like, even if they could just both play for a draw, that'll probably see them through on 4 points each. But we'll have to see how it pans out. It'd be a good game to watch, I think.
I mean, I think if they come second, they have to play Italy. So maybe they don't want to win the game. That's actually interesting, because
but then Ukraine, but then both teams might just want to throw the game nearly to finish, or to draw the game, even to finish third, maybe.
Because the 4 points, like,
wait, who will go through if it was a draw? Would
Ukraine.
It go to Ukraine? Will go through.
Yeah, they're head on goal difference with them.
So no, Ukraine,
they're head on goal. So obviously they'd be level head to head, level on goal difference. Ukraine will go on goals scored.
Goals scored.
They go through to the third kind of whatever. But like, yeah. So I just built up a game against Ukraine and Austria that probably doesn't even matter, because realistically, but still, like, you don't know the other team's playing for a draw. Like, do you get me? Like, but
like, if one of them win, if the other team finishes on 3, like, they won't necessarily go through. So they both know that they have to get points out of the game, or at least one.
Yeah, they still could.
You'd rather go, like, you're gonna want to go for the win instead of trying to settle for a draw and then end up throwing the game.
Dangerous. Yeah. I think it could be a good game. We'll have to wait and see. But speaking of Ukraine, they beat North Macedonia 2-1. I mean, I expect them to win this. I think they're a good side. I liked what I saw against the Dutch. I don't think there's too much point going into this. Yarmolenko scored, Yaremchuk, so the two same goal scorers from the last game. Fair play. I think that's the game they expect to win. That's the game they want to win. I think this last game is what they would have been targeting for sure if they wanted to come second in the group, because they probably knew that the Dutch would beat them. And it's probably the same as Austria, to be fair, just opposite way around. So yeah, moving on to Group D, which is the English group. Not mistaken, of course. England played Scotland. I mean, it was hyped up to be some game. I think Scotland played well. I think they were the better team. But Luke, on England, what you think?
It's just, I saw someone on Twitter say they have the potential of Man City and they play like United. I mean, what's with the two defensive midfielders? I don't understand it. I don't get, okay, Calvin Phillips, he got an assist last game, so maybe you can start him, but I don't think either of them came off. Like, surely Southgate at some stage goes, right, we're going to try and get the win here, but he doesn't want to change from those two defensive midfielders. He's not putting Sancho on the pitch, which is disgraceful, really. Sterling, don't know why he's on. Mount, not doing much. I know he's rated a lot by most of the managers, and I think he's a good player as well, but Grealish on the bench, he needs to be starting games, if we're being honest. Foden seems to have believed his own hype and hasn't performed this tournament. I think he needs to be put on the bench for the next game. And then they're just not. Kane has been woeful in the two games. Now Southgate has come out and said he's going to start the next game, but he's going to have to play a lot better in the last two games, because really he's been probably the worst player in the whole English squad for those first two games. He's been horrendous, so he needs to fix up.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, England, we were talking about this obviously with Charlie the other day. Like the two defensive midfielders. So your first point, it was so dumb. Like obviously, if you want to be kind of keep it like you don't want to go too overboard with the attacking players, in a game like that, it's a derby and stuff like that, or an international derby, if you want to call it like that. But like, I felt like in the second half, when you knew nothing was happening, like throw someone on, throw Grealish on earlier, maybe get Sancho on, or throw Rashford on, and like, I just don't understand, like, because it kind of like for me, England needed to pin Scotland back. Scotland were able to get out easy and they were able to create chances, which they did, and they could have scored and won the game. If it wasn't for that Reece James clearance. But like I felt like for England, they just needed to pin Scotland back, and you do that by having more attacking players on the pitch. Yeah, so I completely agree with that. But yeah, like for me, England, it's just underwhelmed, isn't it? I think the manager has no idea what he's doing. He's a fucking idiot, honestly. I don't even know how I'm getting annoyed by it because it's England, but it's just so because like that is a proper squad. It's a proper team. So much talent, like it's spoiled for talent. And he's bottling it as it stands. It's just really poor. Also, the Foden thing, yeah, I think he does need to come out next game. Nothing wrong with that. He's still a young player. I'm not saying he's bad or anything, but yeah, I think if there wasn't first place to play for in the next game, I'd try Dominic Calvert-Lewin maybe. Kane's just not been good. I want to see more Grealish, Sancho. I want to see more for sure. Got 0 minutes, 0. It's ridiculous. But yeah, Connor, we have to give credit to Scotland. They got the draw they were looking for. Obviously, the first game was very disappointing. They go into the Croatia game with a fighting chance. They're going to have to win if they want to qualify. What was there anything that impressed you from Scotland?
And I think Billy Gilmore, he was very good.
COVID now.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he's out of the next game, which would be a massive loss for them. But yeah, he was sort of running the midfield really. I just did a couple of things on England though, as well. Yeah. Like I agree. Like I think how Grealish hasn't started, like I just don't get it. Like he is literally when he comes on, like he's so good to watch. He creates loads of chances, and someone I think they're missing. I think they needed someone like I know he didn't go to the tournament, and this isn't me being biased, but I think James Ward-Prowse, that he is someone that you kind of need in a game like that. He isn't defensive. He isn't as defensively minded as Phillips. He's sort of a more central midfielder. He will get forward a bit, but his set piece ability, like that's something you need in a tight game like that. But especially people like Grealish and Sancho, because he was left out of the squad altogether first, and then he got put onto the bench. He hasn't played a minute yet, has he?
No.
Which is just bizarre. And Harry Kane, like, I don't care if he's your captain. Like, he's literally done nothing at all. Like, just give Calvert-Lewin a chance.
Yeah.
And just you need to switch things up a bit if players aren't performing. But yeah, now Scotland will be delighted with that. I mean, Billy Gilmore is a big loss for them going into Croatia now, but that is going to be lined up to be a good game as well because both teams would be going into that looking to get something out of it.
For sure. Yeah, completely agree. I think the thing with England for me is like when Grealish came on, obviously everyone wanted Grealish to come on. The fan, every time he got shown on the big screen, the fans obviously were like went mad and I felt like when Grealish came on, you could see like Scotland were surrounding them with 2 or 3 players. And like that's the type of player you need when you're playing a team that's gonna fight for our lives defensively. You need someone who's gonna take a couple of players at a position, go past a few players, and create space. And it was too late in the end. It was far too. I thought Grealish should have came on at half time. Like obviously he should have started, but at least come on at half time. Yeah, I mean England, they're going to qualify. They have a bit of work to do against the Czechs. And Scotland, I've given themselves a fighting chance. They'll go into that Croatia game at Hampden Park and give it everything. But yeah, speaking of Croatia, they drew 1-0 with Czech Republic. Still really to get going in the tournament. Like the Czechs matched them in every way. They got the lead and then Paris equalised shortly after half time. But yeah, Croatia have a lot to do now if they want to qualify. They're going to play a Scotland team who aren't going to lie down. And like I think Croatia now are in a little bit of trouble. People kind of tipped them to maybe not repeat 2018, but at least, go far. But I just don't think it's the same team anymore. Luke, I don't know what you think. I feel like all the players they're obviously 2 or 3 years older now. They just don't seem the same to me. Obviously, Mandzukic, it is Mandzukic who's out, isn't it? And Rakitic. Yeah, Mandzukic and Rakitic are the ones who were injured. But still, I'm just not seeing enough for them at all.
Yeah, I think they've lost a real focal point in Mandzukic. I think they have Rebic and a few other players now, but like up front, but they're just not as potent in attack anymore.
Yeah.
Rakitic always used to chip in with the odd goal, so he was a big loss. They still have a great midfield in Kovacic, Modric, Brozovic, but Brozovic didn't start the last game. Not sure what that was about.
Yeah.
Perisic is still decent for them. He scored a good goal, but they're just like their team is a bit old now, so they kind of get outplayed. They're not great like at sustaining pressure. That they're just average really now. I think they used to have a good team, but they're not at the level they once were.
Yeah. I think they haven't. I don't know. I fancy them against Scotland. I just do. I think the quality might just be a bit too much for Scotland, but they are poor. Like, I mean, Connor, on Czech Republic, like they've surprised me. To be fair, I didn't really think they'd do too much this tournament. I thought they'd actually come last in the group, but they've qualified now. Like, they can't finish lower than third. They've got 4 points. I mean, have they shocked you, or were you expecting a performance like this?
Yeah, no, I expected them to be targeting the Scotland game to possibly get a draw out of it, and that'd be it. But
Yeah.
obviously they went out 1-2-0 on the first day, and then they got their draw as well against Croatia, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
like, I mean, I know they still have to go to England now and play, but like they've already qualified. They're gonna try and throw everything at England if you think about it, because like they've qualified, they have nothing to lose. They might as well go out and try and put on a performance. So it should be a good game to watch. And I mean, I certainly I would have predicted them to come last in the group. And now it's Scotland and Croatia, who I would have expected Croatia to finish second, Scotland to come third to maybe qualify. But yeah, Czech Republic have gone and just shocked everyone. I think no one would have called.
Or Hertha Berlin, I think.
No, Suchek as well.
Suchek, yeah, and then
As well.
yeah, and like I think he was always a good talent in Italy, and he kind of slowed down after he moved to Roma, I think it was. Yeah, I remember he was meant to move to Juventus, and like they did all the pictures and all, and there was something wrong, and then he ended up just moving to Roma for some reason. I can't remember why, but yeah, that was he's really having a good breakout tournament. He needed to kick on, and he's doing that, and he's firing Czech to the round of 16. I mean, in the England game, like I thought, like just if I was them, just go for it. Like, you're qualified, just absolutely throw everything at them, and throw everything at England and see what happens. You might top the group because England look fragile at the moment, and they don't look like they're firing at all. But yeah, that again, it's another group that's up in the air. Like Group E, which is Sweden, Slovakia, Spain, and Poland. We'll start with Sweden against Slovakia. Sweden are basically qualified now. They've got the 4 points. They're top of the group. They beat Slovakia, who won their first game, 4th with the penalty. I mean, it wasn't a fantastic game, if I'm being honest. Yeah, a penalty decided, so I don't think there's much point in talking about it, to be honest with you. Did you guys watch the game? No? Yeah, I think it was during the day. A lot of the ones during the day I can't catch, but yeah, we didn't really miss much, to be fair. And then Spain are on 2 points. They drew Poland 1-1. I mean, Spain are in trouble. Like, Spain are in trouble. I mean, this is what happens when you don't start Thiago. But no, seriously, like, I thought Spain, they got the lead. I was like, okay, just you can kick on now and get the win. And then Poland managed to equalise through Lewandowski. He got his goal. And then Spain are in a real uphill battle. I mean, Spain in group stage, they don't really make it easy for themselves. In the last game, they played Slovakia. If they win that, they'll probably come second. Yeah, they'll qualify anyway. But yeah, Connor, first on Spain. We know their weakness is like scoring goals and having that striker and that number 9 who's going to do it for them. But they just I mean, they obviously they play nice football, and they pass it around and stuff like that. But they just seem to be lacking something. Do you think it's all down to just not having a competent number 9, even though Morata scored, or do you think the problems may be bigger than that?
No, I think the problems are bigger than that. I mean, Morata did score, but I'd still say he's been poor for the tournament so far. I mean,
Yeah,
the amount of chances he's had and bottled them. I mean, as a number 9, especially of a big nation like Spain, like you're expected to be putting them away. But I think I said this the last time we had a podcast that I think Spain, back when Barcelona and Real were kind of dominating Europe, and it was literally Champions League winners. They literally had about 7 of them in the team when they were winning the World Cup and Euros back to back. And I think they're trying to just keep doing the same thing with different players, and it's not really working. And they're trying to sort of pass it around and stuff like that. And the teams are pressing them more now. They don't have the quality that they used to have before. And I would question some of the decisions that the managers made now. I think Spain were one of the teams before the tournament, along with the Netherlands. We were kind of saying that they're big teams. We expect them to go far. Or sorry,
yeah,
you'd expect them to go far, but they're kind of been underperforming. And in fairness to the Netherlands, they've kind of surprised us and been playing well. But Spain, I've been really disappointed with them because Spain usually play nice football. They're usually good to watch, but the last few years they've kind of just shown how far they've fallen in a short space of time.
yeah. I just think Spain, like obviously, I've at least Thiago. I think he should be starting, but even still, like I don't know, they're just lacking something. They're lacking a cutting edge. I think Luis Enrique is a very good manager. Like tactically, he gets the games like spot on a lot of the times, but the players just don't seem to be performing. I think they just maybe if they can just get a win in the next game, they'll kick on. But like it's a risk. Like Slovakia haven't been bad this tournament. Like they got a win against Poland, and they weren't bad against Sweden. So I mean, it's risky. I think they will pull through and they'll get the win that they need. But yeah, I think they're relying on Morata to step up, which I don't think he will. He's very Luke. I think you said this the other night. It was like Morata can be like unreal one game, and then the next 3 games he can just be shit. Like he's just that type of player. So in that case, you see him stepping up at all?
No, I don't. I don't like Morata, to be honest. I
Yeah,
mean, the amount of times he's offside, the big chances he misses,
yeah,
he's not good enough. I don't think. I think Spain have always been really missing that real striker. I mean, you see them playing the false 9, even when they won the World Cup.
with Fabregas.
Sometimes they played Torres, but not much. He wasn't really in form back then. But Spain, I think their whole attack is just really average. I mean, Olmo, Morata, who's the other one? Ferran Torres, he scored a
Yeah,
few goals for them in the past, but he hasn't done anything this tournament. He got dropped for the last game. I like their midfield. I like their defense as well. I think they're pretty decent, but when you have no attack, it makes it pretty difficult. Busquets has been a big loss from them. I think he got COVID. I'm not sure about playing Llorente at right back. I think he scored
so
a good amount
weird.
of goals. He scored a good amount of goals for Atletico last season. So maybe if you were looking for a goal, you could actually play him in an advanced midfield role, and he might pop up with a goal for you. But I watched Spain's friendly against Portugal before the tournament, and I thought they were pretty decent. They had a lot of chances, but the
Yeah,
2 games I've seen them play in the actual tournament, they've been really boring. Like they're not even creating that much chances. They don't look like scoring, and then they just leak the goal at the other end, Lewandowski bullying Laporte. So that's not great from them. I don't see them going anywhere in the tournament really if they can't sort out their problem in attack, and I don't see them doing it. Even though I like Enrique as a coach, he just doesn't have the attackers available to actually sustain a challenge for the tournament.
yeah. I think for me, I just feel Spain just seem to just pass teams off the park and just expect to just like it'll go in, the ball magically go in, which is just I mean it's just not good enough at this level at all. Look, they probably get through, but I don't know how far they'll go. To be honest, we'll have to wait and see. I think actually I don't know who they play anyway, but we'll have to wait and see after all the games are completed for Matchday 3. Moving on to the last group, Group F, before we finish up. Hungary I mean, everyone said Hungary would, they finished bottom. They finished bottom. They wouldn't get out of the group. They probably still won't get out of the group, to be fair to them. But they got a point off France, which I think they'll be happy about. I think they performed well against Portugal up until the last kind of 10 minutes where they kind of fell apart, which was fair enough. Portugal were putting up to them. And then with France, though, it's a weird one. France just don't look like they've got going. Like, I think the Germany result was a good result. The performance, I'm not too sure. And then against Hungary, they're poor. I think that the fans, I think that's such a good side, like seeing the stadium packed. I don't know how they've managed that. I don't know what the crack is in Hungary. But I think that's key for Hungary if they want to have any chance of getting out of this group. But I think the draw against France, they'll take that. Luke, on France, I mean, look, they go into the last game against Portugal. What? It's a weird one for France because they did beat Germany, but what do you think they're missing at the moment? Because they just didn't really seem on it against Hungary.
I'm not sure what they're missing. I don't know if you can say Giroud should be playing because Benzema, but he does score a lot of goals for France, Giroud. Now, I'm not sure if you can drop Benzema, but France in the big games against the likes of Germany and Portugal, I've seen them in the Nations League and obviously in the Euro. They seem to actually show their class in those games, in the big games with the Pogba, Kante midfield. They seem to perform more often than not. And then I don't think they've been beaten when they've been paired together. So they seem to beat the big teams and actually show why they're one of the best teams in the world. But in the smaller teams, I watched them a few times in their qualifying rounds, even for the World Cup, mainly just to watch Pogba and Martial, if I'm being honest. But I just noticed they're not very good. They really weren't very good in those games. So obviously it's still a real surprise that they weren't able to get over the line against Hungary. But it's not as big as a surprise for me because I haven't watched them. They really weren't very good in some of those qualifying games. So
yeah,
obviously they should still be winning, and I think they'll still qualify, but it's not great. I mean, have they scored a goal yet? Yeah, they've scored one, Griezmann, but the own goal. So everyone's been going on about their attack. They've scored 2 goals in the tournament, only 1 goal from one of their own players. So Benzema has been missing a few chances. Mbappe hasn't got on the score sheet yet, so that'll be a concern. They need to start performing in an attack because we know they have the talent to do it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. France, I think people expect them to come to the tournament, maybe set the world alight. Mbappe coming in. For me, it's a weird Pogba man of the match performance against Germany, and then he looks poor against Hungary. Again, blows my mind. I don't understand it at all. Ousmane Dembele's out, by the way. He got injured. He's out of the Euros, which just sums up his career, unfortunately. But yeah, Connor, on France again, they're going to the game against Portugal. It's going to be I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Would you change anything? I know Luke touched on a little. Would you change anything in that France team? Or do you think it's just a matter of time before they get going?
I mean, I was watching the first half of the Hungary-France game there, and the amount of chances that France had, and they didn't put them away. Benzema had a great chance, a lovely layoff from Mbappe. Mbappe did miss a few chances. They were difficult enough chances, but France were creating, and I think with the amount of crosses going into the box, and Mbappe trying to head it, I mean, if Giroud had been in there, he would have bagged easily. So they could possibly look at bringing Giroud in to replace Benzema possibly for the game.
Yeah.
But just to have that sort of target man, and he has proven that he scores international goals. All you have to do is look at the records. But I think France, they weren't bad. They played good football. They created good chances. Obviously, for the goal for Hungary, it was a good goal from them. To be fair, it's a bit of a mistake from Varane, but overall, France just needs to be looking at being more clinical down the other end of the pitch, to be honest, because they're getting in the right space and creating the chances to win games anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens against Portugal. Fair play to Hungary. do you guys have any comment on Hungary? Like, I think they're very unlucky, like, to be in this group, because like they won't get out of it, of course, but they're very unlucky to be in this group, and like because they have the fans and all that. And I feel like if they're in like an easier group, they would be doing better. I mean, they go into the Germany game with a fighting chance. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, just on Germany, they played Portugal. Best game of the round so far, 4-2 win. I mean, Germany just looked a different side. They dominated Portugal. They battered Portugal. I know Portugal took the lead through Ronaldo, a great goal, a great team goal. But after that, it was just a matter of time. The 2 own goals, that before halftime, they went in 2-1 down, Portugal, and then after that, Germany just took them apart. I think tactically, Lowe got it spot on. But yeah, Luke, on Germany first, like, were you surprised by this performance from them? And actually, I think are you back in Germany? Are you one? I think you were the ones that was backing them.
Yeah, I chose
So
Germany.
maybe you're not surprised, but what, I don't know, like how impressive, like what sort of message that sent out to other nations that they just beat the defending champions 4-2. And to be honest with you, that scoreline flatters Portugal. They were battered by Germany.
Yeah, I think it's a big message, because if you look at Germany's squad on paper, it is a very good squad, and Portugal are
Yeah.
probably second favourites for the tournament, and they got absolutely battered, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I think Kroos was brilliant in the midfield. Kimmich was very good, and Gossens from Atalanta was unbelievable down the left flank. He absolutely gave Semedo the runaround, who was also very poor. But Germany, they're just very, like, I like them a lot. They have their players, like, they've seemed to have gone with a load of Bayern Munich players, so they all know what each other are going to do. They seem to have some good chemistry. Havertz has been good for them. Obviously, with the likes of Hummels coming back in, they've got the experience, and Muller. So I think it was a must-win game for them, because if they had a loss, I think they might have been going out, because
Yeah.
that would have been 2 losses, and then they probably would have beaten Hungary, and they would have finished on 3 points, which probably wouldn't have been enough to take them through. So they've shown that they're one of the contenders for the tournament. If they keep playing like that, they will be difficult to beat.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't gone to a semi-final. Fair. I mean, Connor, on Portugal now, this doesn't make sense what I'm about to say. I didn't think Portugal would be as good as people said they were going to be, but I still managed to have them in the final. Don't ask if that makes sense, but just hear me out. We on Portugal, like, for me, I don't know about you, Connor, right? But for me, I just think they are a bit too tailored around Ronaldo and like creating chances for him. And at the end of the day, look, the player he is, the one of the greatest of all time. Like, he is 36. Do you think that's a potential, like, that is a problem for them? Like, in terms of, like, because they can't take him out of the team because he's Ronaldo, but at the same time, they're kind of tailored around him, and maybe even over reliant on him to produce the goals.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of that way at the moment, but like, if you think about it, if you're playing with literally one of the greatest players of all time, like, that is always going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
everything's going to be kind of focused around him. I think before I was kind of thinking his age, like, he is getting on a bit, he might not perform, but like, he's scored goals in the big games. He's been performing really well.
Yeah.
I think Jota's been playing really well with him. They seem to be combining quite well. One
Yeah.
player I did expect, like, this isn't a dig or anything, but I did expect Bruno Fernandes to be
Same.
a lot better
Yeah.
than he has been.
He's been
So
shit.
I mean, it will be interesting. I don't know why he doesn't have Ricardo Pereira in the squad at right back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
that
that's
was a bit bizarre. I thought. So, I mean, Semedo wasn't great at all, and like, he got bullied by Gossens at the whatever day the match was.
Yeah.
So,
Semedo.
and we've seen Pereira, like, he is a very good defensive right back.
Yeah.
So he would be a great addition to the squad, I think. But
I'm sticking
it'd be
Cedric in there. Oh, like, sorry to joke. I'm sticking Cedric instead of Semedo. Semedo reeks. Like, he's so bad.
yeah, he's not great.
Like, I don't know. I think more the problem is midfield for me. Like Danilo and Carvalho, what do they bring to the table? Like defensively, they might be solid. I think Carvalho is the one I'd keep in there. Danilo, what does he do? I was watching him for PSG and he just hoofs the ball forward. Like he's actually horrid to watch. Like he's so bad. Luke, we were talking about this with Charlie, weren't we? Like he's actually shit. Like he doesn't offer anything. Danilo, like who would you like to see in midfield, Luke, instead of Danilo? Like, would you stick Renato in there? Who else do they have? Moutinho,
Neves.
who? Neves. Oh, Neves. Yeah, Neves. Do you think that they need to change that midfield? It just didn't work against Germany.
Yeah, they definitely need to change the midfield. I mean, I looked at the two teams before the game, and I just like Germany are going to dominate this game because Danilo and Carvalho, they're not good enough. Kroos was obviously going to get on the ball and dictate the game. So I'd like to see a midfield of Renato Sanchez and Ruben Neves. I think that would help them control the game a lot better. I don't think Portugal need to be this counter-attacking team. I think they're a good enough team to actually go and take the ball and actually dominate possession. I think Renato Sanchez was very good when he came on, and Neves has a good passing range that can help them control the game against better opposition. So they definitely need to change those two players at DM. I'm not talking one of them, both of them need to come out. And you're talking about Bruno as well. I'm just looking at his stats here for Portugal. They're nowhere near what they are for United. I mean, he's played in his last 10 matches, he's got 2 goals and 1 assist for Portugal. So they're nowhere near as good as they are with United. But I'm just watching, they're nowhere near as like reliant on Bruno. They don't seem to give him the ball in the positions he wants. They tend to just favor passing it to Ronaldo. I don't think Bruno has like the same amount of respect as Ronaldo does, which is fair if we're being honest, but that's probably one of the reasons why Bruno isn't getting as good a numbers for Portugal as he is with United, because if you're watching for United, everyone just gives him the ball and praise basically. So that's not happening for Portugal. Bernardo Silva's also not been great, and I'm not sure what Rafa Silva off the bench is offering either. So
that guy's so bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure why João Felix isn't being used either.
Yeah, that's weird. That's proper weird. I think João Felix would offer something. Even though I don't really rate him as how people do, just a bit of a Cruyff turn kind of dribble merchant that just looks good in the eye, but offers doesn't offer a lot. But he'd be doing better than most players that are coming over to Portugal. Just quickly on that group, just a quick kind of I'll say what the state of play is, as it were. So France, they're top in 4 points. Germany are second with 3. Portugal are third with 3. And Hungary are fourth with 1. And Hungary are playing Germany and France are playing Portugal. So, I mean, I've just clocked if France beat Portugal, are Portugal hang them? So if France beat Portugal, are they actually no, they probably could still qualify because they have a decent. Actually, no, they could be out. Hang on. Let me check the other group. I've just clocked this. So if Spain was to beat them, they'd go through. They'd go through. Oh my God, they're literally about to go out. If they lose to France, they're out. Because their goal difference would be shit. Whoa, that's a big game. That's a huge game. That's bigger than I thought it'd be. I don't know why I didn't think Portugal could go out. Mad. That's mad. I mean, I don't see them going out for me. I think they'll get a draw if they need to, and that'll be enough. But that gives Germany opportunity to top the group then. They could beat Hungary. I mean, Hungary, they could beat Germany. Oh, it blows. If Hungary beat Germany and France beat Portugal, Hungary comes second. Jesus. Right. That is going to be a mad last game week. When they play Wednesday. I'm off Wednesday. Lovely. 8 o'clock both games. Right. Mad. Okay. The only teams as of now qualified are Italy and Netherlands for sure. I know a couple of others are probably guaranteed it, but definitely is Italy and Netherlands as it stands right now. So you'll see I think that's all the games anyway, but you'll see our reactions to game week 3 next week. Hopefully it's exciting. I think all the games in each group are played at the same time, so it kind of has that effect, like the Premier League last day and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks lads for joining me. We'll see you all next week. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, send to your mates, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll see you next week.